Right, let's start with the first video of the series. We are going to set up the topology here. So let me start with new virtual machine. So either we can go and give our installer image here, or we can say that I'm going to install the operating system later. So it's going to be a Microsoft server and Microsoft Windows. I'm going to go for a Microsoft server, which is in my virtual machine, I have a server 2019, so I'm just going to go for the Windows Server 2019. Next, so here I'm going to give SDC. So that's the name of my topology, if I'm not wrong. So this is the topology I'm going to set. So it's SDC and L server, client Windows 10, client Windows 10. Right, okay. So let's go SDC. And here I'm going to select the location in which I'm going to store the files. I don't want it to store in my OneDrive, so I just go to my PC and then I have my VM. So inside this my VM, I'm going to make a new folder which says SDC. I'm going to give next. So what's the size of the disk? I'm just going to give 60 gigs and split into multiple files. I can customize my hardware here. So its memory is 2 gig. So processor, I'm just going to give 2 processor and 2 cores for it. I want to select my ISO here, so I can go browse and select my ISO. So I'm going to my VM images. Here I have my Windows Server 22. I'm going to select this. And here if you notice that this is the server I'm installing, so it has 2 network adapters. So I'm going to give 2 adapters here, which is already a NAT. I don't want to do a NAT, so I'm just going to add another network adapter here. So here's the add button. I just click next. So I have 2 NAT adapters, which the first one I'm going to give a VM net 0, which is a specific virtual network. And the second one I'm going to give a custom specific, where I'm going to give a VMnet 2. They don't have a MAC address to generate, so it's okay. I finish it. So now I should see SDDC here, just to optimize and check. So I'm optimizing it because I have a 64 gig RAM here. So it's okay for me to give 2 cores and 2 processors for me. But in your case, if you are working on a computer or a host machine which is 16 gig or a 32 gig, so it won't be advisable for you to use a 2 cores 2 processor for it. So you may go and try to reduce it to 1 core or 1 processor, right? And the memory, you can reduce it if you want to reduce it to a 1 gig. It's up to you. So I'm just going to check my ISO image and it's fine, and I can power it on. So click it on a virtual screen to send it. Oops, sorry. I have to start it again. It says that my EFI network is timed out. Right, okay, let me power it off. Go to this PC, power it on. Yep, it asked me to click on a key, press any key option. So if I didn't do it, it will go for a EFI. So you need to work on this infrastructure to get accustomed, like how are you going to get in focus within this virtual machine, virtual box, and then getting out of focus. So here for a VMware, it is Control Alt to get in and get off this virtual machine. For yeah, here we go. For Oracle VirtualBox, it is a right click Alt or a right click Control, I guess. So what is the language? It's English US, and the time format is UK. The keyboard, I'm going to use Windows. UK's keyboard structure. If you go for other structures, then there may be, it will take the format of that. So possibly your double quotes and at the rate of symbol may be misplaced. So it's better to choose UK keyboard input method. Next, install. It will take a while to set up and install the machine here. Let's wait for it. So it will ask here whether you want to do a standard or a desktop experience or a data center. So we are going to use standard server 2022, and we prefer a desktop experience, not a standard one, which would be a command line interface. If you're going to use a Oracle box, sometimes you need to set up these things when you are configuring the initial stages, so it doesn't ask you at this stage. So I give next. It needs to accept, so I accept it. Upgrade installation, no, it's a custom installation. Are you going to use a 60? I say I want another one with maybe 10. Apply. So I have this as my primary. So I go with or yeah, I just have a 10 gig backup for me. Maybe I can use it for different purpose. Right, it's getting installed. So here we go. Once the installation is done, it's here asking for a password. So we have to make sure that we give a password which is suitable, which satisfies or which credits to the service criteria. So doing a control alt delete. Let me check if my password works well. So yeah, it does. So I should have my SDC server up and running in a moment now. So what I can do is similar way. I can install my client, and I can also install my other network with a server and a client, right? So I can use the same thing. So now you could see that the interface here is typical. So if I want to make it more efficient or more user friendly, I go into this and I want to install this VM tool. So that's what it says. So you have a VMware tool. If you want to install it, go and run it. So let me go here to my PC. So here's it is. It may be different for Oracle VirtualBox if you are using an Oracle VirtualBox. So I'm just going to double click and install my server. Right, so here it asks for the installation. So I give a complete installation, install. So the installation here is almost done. So I finish it. Now you could see the interface has changed. The resolution has changed. So it says that you must restart the system for configuration to be effective. I would say yes. So I haven't done much into it, so I will leave it. So it's installing. So in the meantime, let me go new virtual machine. This time I'm going to install a Windows machine, but a client. So here it is a Windows 10 later. So it's an S client. So I go with S client. Again, I don't want my location to be this one. So I go to this PC. I have my VM here. I have an SDC which is already there. Here I'm going to make S client, and then I say OK. So am I going to give a 60 gig for it? No, I'm going to give 50 gig. Do I want to split it? Yes, I'm splitting it. Customize hardware. Yeah, I think this is okay, but still I can, yeah, it's okay for me. So it's just one adapter is okay for me for this topology. If you could see, the client is connected to only one network adapter. So I'm going to give two because the other one is in two as well. Nothing else changed here, so I just go finish it. I edit the machine because I haven't given which one it has to take the ISO. So connect power on. So I'm going to browse, going into my VM images, and here is the Windows 10. Just give OK. I select it, and I'm going to power it on. By the time here, let's go. This is my server. Oh, I did the same mistake here as well. Let me go here, power it off, and as client power on the machine. Here we go. So here is my server. So it has my server manager here, which has the information about the local server here. It's a local server yet. So the first thing I have to do is change my computer name. So the computer name is the same as it is in the topology. Some of the naming conventions are really important in an enterprise network scenario, in a networking scenario, because it's something which is really important. Yeah, it's still loading. So while it is loading, let's go here. I want to change the name of the computer, so I go here, and it's still in the work group, so I say SDC as my changed. It's still in the work group. I haven't changed to domain. We will do it in the upcoming videos. So you have to restart it. I will restart it later while we are waiting for this to come. Right. So it's the time is UK and the keyboard is UK. Install now. I can go and give the IP addresses here for the server. So it's going to be 192.168.1.1 and it's going to be 10.0.0.1 because we have two adapters here. So yeah, it's advisable for you to use shortcuts or run commands to go and work rather than you go into this network here, network settings, and then go to control panel, network and internet settings, kind of that, change adapter options, and then you will get it there. Rather than that, I prefer to use commands. So we have Ethernet 0 and Ethernet 1. So Ethernet 0 is VMnet 0 and Ethernet 1 is VMnet 2 as a thing. So I make this as a rename. The Ethernet 0, I make it as a SW external, and this one I make it as SW internal. So I go here, go to my properties, IPv4. I just give I refer to my topology here. It is 10.0.0.1/30. So it's 10 dot sorry 10.0.0.1/255.255.255.252, which is 30. I don't want to give a default gateway here because this itself is a server. I'm not giving any DNS at the moment. We will discuss DNS later. So I give OK. I go to my internal network. Similarly, I go to the properties. Say this is going to be my 192.168.1.1 network, which is a /24, which means 192.168.1.1 network, which is a /24. I'm not giving any default gateway or DNS here. I say OK, close, go to my command prompt, ipconfig to see my configuration. Yeah, I have SW external, which is 10.0.0.1, and I have SW external, which is 10.0.0.1, and I have my SW internal, which is 192.168.1.1. Fair enough. I don't have any other missions to ping, so for now I just leave it as such. Now I go and I'm going to restart the computer. Yeah, it's other plan, maintenance, whatever it is, restart. By the time, let's see what's the client here. It's it gives me a different option. So I can select one of the option here. I'm going for an enterprise version of it. Home version or Pro doesn't work well with all this. So custom install. So I'm going to go for a new partition, so which is going to be right. I'm going to go for a oops, sorry, 5. Just going to have another 5 gig here, but this one is where I'm going to work with, and it started installing. So once it is done, I can now check if the networks work fine. Then I can also go and set up my other network, so my first topology is ready. All right, so here we go. Let's start with the region. So it's UK. Yes. So it asks for a keyboard. So it's UK again. I'm going to skip the second keyboard layer. I don't have internet here. Continue with limited setup. Who's going to use the PC? So I would say administrator. It doesn't allow administrator for some reason, so I use I say user L user 1, and then I'm going to give a password for the user. It needs a confirmation. Security question 1. Security question 2. And security question 3. I don't want my location. I don't want my device. I don't want any. Yeah. So it's now getting everything set up for us as per our configuration. So it will take a while. Let's wait for it. Here we go. So the first thing I will do is set up my VMware tools. So I don't want the Windows 10 updates here. I want to quit. Yes, I want to quit here. So right, so it's Windows. All right, okay. So I was thinking it's oh, okay, I'm sorry. So I was thinking it was a VMware installation. It's not the VMware installation. Right. Okay, the first thing I would do is go and change my client name. So it's S client. So rename this PC. I would say S client. Next. I would restart it later. And ncpa.cpl. So that's for the run command for the network adapter. So here I have only one network adapter. So I go to properties and I'm going to configure my network adapter. So it's going to be 192.168. Sorry for that, just confirmation. It's 192.168.1.network. So I'm going to give 192.168.1.2, which is /24. And here I'm going to give my default gateway, which is 1.1, which is pointing back to my server here. So that's my default gateway. So that's it. So let's see. I would say S here, close this, command prompt, ipconfig. I'm going to ping my server to see if everything works fine. It's not pinging. Right. I don't know. I know why it is exactly. So, but before that, let's go restart this one. Let's check if this guy is on. Administrator. There are different reasons why my client and server is not pinging, even though I have given the IP addresses here. Maybe we discussed that in our lecture. By the time now you watch the video, you should know. So if I go to ipconfig, I have two networks here. One is an external network, other one is an internal network. So I have to go and change my name as an internal network in my client. It's still loading. So if I try to ping my 192.168.1.2, it's request timed out. There are two different error messages or two different information you could gather in troubleshooting about this, but we will discuss that after some time. Like, so it's user here. Oh, password is incorrect. Sorry. Oh, yeah. ipconfig. So if I'm going to ping 192.168.1.1, it's not pinging, and it should say a request timed out. Right. So there are two different types of errors which we could check out here. So if I'm going to ping 192.168.1.3, it says that destination host is unreachable because there is no host with 192.168.1.3. So it says that I can't go and reach this guy 1.3. But here it says that request is timed out, which means I can reach 192.168.1.1, but the request, I'm waiting for a response. I can't get a response. I'm still waiting. I could see this guy, but the guy is not responding to me, right? So we have to work to find out what's the problem. We will find out in our next series of video.